To Teleislas news, unfortunately this afternoon the news are not positive. This morning the lifeless body of minor Nick Livingston was found in a cistern. The family and the community awaits the arrival of special investigators to clarify this loss.
From early hours, the community of Full Providence gathered in the section of Southwest Bay after hearing the news that the body of the child was found in the cistern of the house. Relatives say that they've checked the cistern several times and are now awaiting the authorities to help clarify what had happened.
Yesterday we discovered that the cistern had a funny odor, but a mild odor. They started verifying and the conclusion was that they were going to remove the water from the cistern to see if it was a rocco, because we have roccos around the house, to see if it was an animal that had died within the cistern. This morning around 7 a.m., my mother got up to begin the process with the cistern, and when she stooped down, she saw the legs of the child in the corner. He was facing down. All she could do was scream, and my wife started running towards her to see what was taking place, and when she said, "He is in there," all my wife could do was also scream, "He's here, he's here." 2. I cannot say that my nephew committed suicide, because the truth is that he is a healthy child, an exemplary child, a smart kid even at school. And it is hard. I want to thank all the authorities, and in a special way, the colonel of the police. Although we have not seen her here, she took the leadership to make this start marching. All I ask the entire community is to permit the authorities to do their job as is their profession, and to their knowledge to verify this episode. The family is without words, don't know what to say, and we await the professionals who are on their way.
The family ruled out the possibility of the child committing suicide. So far, the family and the community awaits for the authorities to clarify what had happened with this 10-year-old boy.
Nick Livingston had been missing for 3 days in Providence. We make a summary of these hours of terror that were lived in the municipality.
Last Sunday, according to the information from relatives, the 10-year-old minor went to bed at 10 o'clock at night, as was routine. The next morning, his grandmother, with whom he lived, reported that he was not in his room and that the bedroom window was open. However, no disturbance in the house or missing objects were reported. Immediately, through social networks, hundreds of people spread the information, which led to a massive mobilization of all inhabitants of the municipality. The search began in the sector where the child resided, the southwest sector. Inhabitants searched streams, common place, beaches, etc. However, it was not possible to find the child. On Tuesday, the search continued in Southwest Bay, but because no signs were found, they decided to move to all the neighborhoods of the island. The search included the Sopes Company, the garbage landfill, and different beaches of the island. However, it was not successful. This event paralyzed the entire municipality, and it was even reported that the traditional festivities that were to be held next week were cancelled. On Wednesday, the government announced the arrival on San Andres of a research team including the trained personnel, canines, and drones that would travel to Providence today. On Wednesday, the government announced the arrival on San Andres of a search team including trained personnel, canines, and drones that would travel to Providence today, Thursday. However, death came first, and the body of the 10-year-old child was found inside the cistern of the house where he lived. It is still not clear if the cistern was previously checked or not. However, this journalistic team will be attentive to the development of the investigation that led to clarify the facts framing the death of Naker Livingston.
After learning the fateful news of the death of the minor Naker Livingston, the departmental governor, Robert Hawkins, postponed his agenda of the different commitments in San Andres and decided to travel to the sister island of Providence.
After the finding of the lifeless body of the minor Naker Livingston Pettis was made public in the last hours, the governor of the department sent a message to the inhabitants of Providence, as well as announced his arrival to the island together with all the departmental authorities.
I want to send a message to the inhabitants of the municipality of Santa Catalina and Providence. Due to the unfortunate news we received today of the death of the minor Livingston Pettis from the Southwest Bay sector, we are preparing to travel to the municipality of Old Providence with the police colonel and the Attorney General of the nation, with a team of investigation we want to ask you all to allow us to enter and let the authorities to make the respective procedures and perform the survey, and from there all the investigations to clarify this unfortunate event.
It is not at this moment that Governor Everett Hawkins Shergreen is already in Providence with all the authorities of the Department of San Andres.
And after finding of the body of the minor inside the cistern of the residence, the National Police pronounced itself in relation to the facts.
Colonel Maria Elena Gomez, commander of the National Police of San Andres, refers to all the actions taken since the moment the report of the disappearance of the minor, Nereker Livingston Perez, who was found today at his residence, was made public.
The National Police, from the first moment the situation occurred and were informed of the disappearance of the child, we have conducted a search on the island of Providence and also here in the island of San Andres. We have verified all information with the purpose of establishing the location of the minor. Even with all the support of the military forces, the authorities of the entities, and of the community on the island.
After the unfortunate finding, the authorities deployed all the trained personnel to continue with the investigations to clarify this regrettable case.
At this moment, taking into account the situation that has occurred and that the body of the minor was found in a cistern, a special group of expert personnel in criminalistic have just been deployed. Of course, we will have all the support of the district attorneys of San Andres.
On the island of Providence, the entire technical team is currently working on the removal of the body.
And the San Andres Prosecutor's Office sent a specialized team to start inspections in the discovery of the missing child on Providence Island.
At this time of the day, the sectional director of the National Prosecutor's Office of the island of San Andres, who will lead the investigation to determine the real causes of the death of the minor, traveled to the island of Old Providence.
A few minutes ago, the specialized prosecutor informed me that they have just landed on the island of Providence to proceed to carry out their work. Regarding the disappearance of minor Nereker Livingston Perez, the Attorney General's office once received the complaint from the parent, ordered to activate the urgent search mechanism in accordance with Law 971 of 2005. A group of prosecutors, a local prosecutor of the municipality of Providence, the sectional prosecutor of the Life Unit, and a specialized prosecutor were also deployed. We are also doing an institutional work where the SIHIN and crime lab were deployed to carry out the inspection of the place of the facts. At the same time, we are accompanied by the forensic doctor to perform the respective necropsy and establish the causes of death and thus clarify the unfortunate event.
And in other news, the low-pressure system that was over the department is under surveillance. It is reported that at the moment it is far away from the archipelago and does not represent any danger.
The low-pressure system that was over the department is under surveillance. It is reported that at the moment it is far away from the archipelago and does not represent any danger.
En este momento, de acuerdo a las alertas.
At this moment, we are in a surveillance stage. This information is based on the report provided by the National Hurricane Center. The DIAM informs us that they will continue to monitor the atmospheric conditions. They also recommended to be attentive and that the risk unit remains alert. We can thank that this phenomenon is tending to continue disappearing. In addition, there is another tropical wave that may be forming, but it is not so serious.
The governor said that there are possibilities of formation of tropical waves, but so far they do not represent danger for the inhabitants of the island.
Desde agosto del 2018, el Fondo Nacional del Ahorro aprobó más de 11,1 billones, cumpliendo el sueño de tener vivienda propia a más de 123,000 familias.
A training course on human rights is being held at the Cultural Center of the Bank of the Republic.
The departmental government is conducting a training session on human rights issues for members of the island's community action boards with the purpose of empowering them to defend and protect their rights.
We have invited them to this event today to train the presidents and members of community action boards and also members of the Department Council for Peace, Reconciliation, Coexistence, and Human Rights, as well as ethnic groups, so that people are fully trained in terms of all information on human human rights.
Attendees at the event highlighted the importance of training such as these, where the government gets closer to the communities. This program is very important, not only for the community action boards, but also for the different communities that are represented in San Andres, because there we learn little things in one way or another. The event was also attended by the Ombudsman's office, which presented the different mechanisms available to the entity to protect the rights of citizens.
Now it's time for sport news with Victor Fusalva.
Hello, here are the best sports of the islands. The Departmental Baseball League is organizing the next baseball tournament at the Wellingworth May Stadium. The San Andres Baseball League, headed by its president Antonio de Armas, met the delegates of the different baseball clubs of the department with the objective of establishing the guidelines for the start of the next departmental baseball tournament. Maximiliano Newball, the delegate of the central team, told us more details.
Yes, sir, sure. I am completely satisfied concerning the meeting. We are trying to bring up baseball in the island, as you know, and you can take notes. Actually, I'm delegate for the central team. We finished with a meeting a while ago, a few minutes ago, concerning the tournament that after this one will be taking place, in which we will have some professional inclusive playing with us.
Newball also informed that in this next tournament, professional players will play in order to continue with the training process of the Islanders players. And on the other side, the semi-final of the veteran basketball tournament is successfully carried out at the Ginny Bay Coliseum. A basketball tradition that has been going on for several years and that seeks to keep the adults in shape, preserving the bonds of friendship among them. Several renowned icons of the game of basketball participate in this tournament. Veteran Newball told us in more detail.
The basketball tournament that is playing in St. Louis, the veteran tournament, is very important for us because we could observe and we could see many people who was figure once more in past tournament are still playing actively, like if they are very young. For example, we have Victor Leva, we have Mr. Jerry Bent, we have Mr. William Newball, and other guys that did play basketball in their younger days, but they are still playing actively, and that is what makes the tournament important, because it gives us that opportunity to reunite as friends, as colleagues, and as families, because the basketball tournament is a family, and that is what makes it more important for us. Right at this moment, the fourth team that is into the semi-final, they are about to get started this Saturday. The final they will be started to play, and the fourth team who had demonstrated during the regular season their potentiality, and so we only have to wait and see what will be the climaxing of this veteran tournament.
The four teams that have qualified for the great final are the Black Panthers, Homey, Barrick, and Donapan, who resume playing this coming weekend. And this will be all in sports for the moment. I am Victor Fusalva, Teleislas News.
Entre abril y diciembre del 2021, más de 11,000 colombianos se acercaron a sus sueños gracias a las oficinas móviles del Fondo Nacional del Ahorro.
This is all for now. We see you tonight at 8 p.m. with more of Teleislas News. Good afternoon.